Hi, Kurt and Christopher, and everybody out in viewerland. Very excited to be doing another video after our impromptu hiatus last week due to a variety of issues we all experienced, I believe. Today I want to talk a little bit more about, I want to finish up that little mini series I did on empathy, perception, and validation by talking a little bit more about the, the small number of things I know about women's experience and extrapolating from that. And I also want to read from a book that I very much enjoyed that deals with that sort of thing. But first of all, I wanted to let you know, if you don't know already, that there's this really wonderful commercial um, from Pantene Pro-V. I don't really actually know what product that is or whether that's a company or whatever, but that shows the essence of the commercial is putting men and women in these different situations, not at the same time, and showing how our perception of them is different. So at work, the man walks in and is the boss, and it says boss. And then when the woman walks in, it says bossy, and that sort of thing. It's really wonderful. I put it down here in the link comments area, so please check it out. It's only a minute, and it's a really kind of ties in really well with what I've been talking about. I just think it's a wonderful um, piece of piece of media. Sheryl Sandberg likes it too, so good recommendation. Well, so today I want to actually read from this book. I don't know if you can see it on there. Yeah, it's called Women's Reality by Anne Wilson Schaeff, who is apparently a pretty famous, or was, this book was published in the early 1980s, was a pretty famous women's um, psychotherapist, I'm reading from the back, psychotherapist, lecturer, writer. She co-founded the Women's Institute of Alternative Psychotherapy, which I think was probably in Boulder, Colorado. Um, and it comes with a long list of recommendations from prominent 1980s women psychologists, most of whom I've never heard of, but that's okay. I really enjoyed this book. I've read a number of psychology books pertaining to women's issues, gender studies, I guess we could say, and generally across the board, the writing is terrible, but the ideas are good. Anne Wilson Schaeff actually is a fairly decent writer. So as a writer, I really appreciate finally reading a book by a psychologist that not only has good ideas but is well written too. So what I want to read from is in this chapter she talks about what she calls stoppers, which are things that what she defines as the white male system, which is really what we've been talking about, this kind of extremely linear, objective, rational system schema that our society, around which our society is based. And she talks about stoppers, which are things that when a minority or a woman, specifically women in this case, um, does something that doesn't fit that schema, a stopper is a thing that a white male system representative will do to stop that because it's wrong, because it doesn't fall into our system. And I just want to read a little bit from this. She says, oh, sorry, I'm missing it here. Aha, here we go. The greatest stopper of all is the implication that a woman is sick, bad, crazy, stupid, ugly, or incompetent. Since we live in a culture where our perceptions are rarely validated, especially not by those who count, read white males, it is difficult, if not impossible, to trust ourselves. If our perceptions cannot be validated, then we must be crazy. There must be something wrong with us if we do not accept the common reality of the white male system. Recall the guy with the car who said, because she's a woman, whatever. There must be something wrong with her because she can't explain herself within that schema. And therefore, again, it's not worth taking the time to understand. I have long been interested in the "you are out of your mind" stopper. In thinking more about it, I have decided that it really is not as negative as I first believed. To be out of one's mind literally means to be out of the rational and logical and into one's being, right here. It can mean being right with oneself. It can be a delightful and meaningful place to be in this over-intellectualized culture. This really hit home with me. I'm an artist, I'm a sensitive person, and that's where I like to spend a lot of my time. Obviously, in this form, I'm presenting a more intellectual side of myself, but I really feel that that's the most important thing. We can call it our subconscious, our emotive level, spiritual, whatever, however you really want to call it, being out of this mind, brain, literal, objective, rational, reasonable, wow, can't speak, thing is, I think, the most important thing. So I just wanted to leave you with that. And next week, I will talk about something different, I promise. See you next week.